Alrighty, so the fifth project here is based on the fourth, so we need to open that up. So I went to Desmos. I'm signed in. I had saved the graph, so I can go here. Now I have a lot of graphs, and so I can do a search if I need to. I can say math1003. Well, it says no. Oh, I got an extra O in there. Math 103, and there's my module 4. So that's what I had saved. So I'll open that graph, and there I have that region, and I guess I don't have my line on there like this shows. I guess I didn't save that version, but I can always add that if I need to. So that's how I get it opened up. So there I have it. I'm ready to go with this. There's my feasible region, and so I can save this, and here I guess when I first did this, I had saved it as Math 103 Project 4 model, and so I just changed it to 5. Now, if I go here and do the same sort of thing, so I'm not going to rename, I'm going to duplicate, and see it says copy of. Now I can get rid of that and change this to module 5. Now I've already got that because I had kind of done this before. I'll say project, and I say save, and now you see it's module 5 project. So there I've got it. I can save that one as I go. Okay. Now, so we want to add some lines to make our job easier, and so this is just to help us because Desmos doesn't quite do things the way you would hope. So we had these inequalities. Well, we want to just add the 4 equalities as well, and that will make these lines here. So I just go do that. I go up, here's an inequality, Control C. I'll just come down here and paste it, and change it to equals. And there I just have that red line. Another one, so I'll highlight it, Control C, come down here, Control V, change that to an equals, and there's the blue line. Transportation constraint, Control C, come down here, Control V, and this is nice. It's making different colors for each one, so I can see where they are. And then finally this one, Control C, Control V to paste it, and it I think it's this let's see, equals. Yeah, so it's purple. Now if I don't want it to be purple, if I wanted it to be orange, say, I can go up here to this little gear, click there, click orange, and then say done, and now it's orange. Okay, so I have all those. I'll make this bolder so you can see it better on your screen. So I have all those items. Okay, so I put those now. Okay, so I have that, and this will make us ready. So in 4, we looked at all these different ways we could serve some number of patients. What they all had in common was the relationship of for every urban counselor X, I could serve 6 patients, and for every rural counselor Y, I could serve 5 patients. Okay, so that's what we want to maximize. You know, we had 30, we had 60, we had 90. But what's the biggest it can be and still be feasible? And so we add that note. So here I want to maximize serve per day. So I'm going to Control C on that. Come here, click in there, add a note, and Control V in there. I don't really need the period on there. So I've got that. And then I want to do 6x plus 5y equals z. So I say 6x plus 5y equals z. And it says add the slider. And so, yep, I want to do that. That's what this says here. It will ask you if you want to add a slider, see, so there's that. Click on the z, and then change the minus 10 and 10 to 0 to 100. So I'm going to click on that. And then if I either click there or on the 10, now I can change 0 and 100. So I hit enter like that. It's currently at 1, and there it is. And so you see there we've got, it looks like that. And now it just says slide until we reach 70. So I'll slide it up here. And I'm there. Oh, I had it really close there. 71. Now, if you're like me and you've got trouble reaching that, you can always click up here and type the 70 in. You can just click like that and type 70. That's fine. If I click back out of there, it's the 70. Okay, so there's 70. Now I'm going to, again, that's red. That's the same color as another line. I'm going to go up here. I'm going to make it black so I can see it better. You know, it's a different color than the others. So I made it black. There it is. Okay. And those, again, those are all the feasible possibilities for serving 70 patients. Now, some of them don't make a lot of sense, you know, because they're fractions, like 44.52 and 8.576. Well, you know, I can't have 4.52 urban counselors. So, you know, some things don't make sense, but like, you know, here, 4.1 and 9.08, that's, I'd call it basically 4 and 9. Okay, so, you know, if I was here, I'd say, well, you know, about 4 and 9, and that would work. Okay, so I did that. And it says, oh, click on the equation here, and notice it's got gray dots where it hits those equation lines that we added. And that's why we added these up here, okay, because we get the gray dots, we get the intersection dots with the gray, and that way I can see where it actually touches the other lines. And I can get that off of there, 2.2 and 11.36. Okay, so that's why we added those, and that was the only reason. And, you know, so it said, place your mouse over it, and you see I got the 2.2 and 11.36. And now it says slide up till you get a picture that looks like this, because, right, as I slide that thing up, the way that's moving is if I move Z down, if I make this number smaller, if I make it 61 patients served, I'm moving this thing to the left. If I make it more patients, it's moving it to the right. So I want that to be as big as possible. But if I move it clear up here to 100, well, the problem is that, you know, it may kind of intersect these lines, but there's the feasible region. So none of these combinations are feasible. So I have to move it back in here, you know, where I get something feasible. But the trick is, and the picture is shown here, is to move that as far as I can right to get the biggest value of z so that I still touch it, just barely touch, but still touch this feasible region. So that's what you want to do for that. Okay. Whoops. So now, so then once you do that, take a screenshot, determine your maximum number of patients and the individual amounts of counselors, the urban and rural counselors that you used to achieve that. Okay, and then you're done with 1.3 as far as the tasks. Now, 1.4, we're going to do something here. Now, we don't have to do this, but it's setting us up more for, really, when all said and done, it's setting us up more for Module 7. Because in Module 7, we're going to insist on having 15 counselors. Well, so if I insist on having 15 counselors, that's not less than or equal to, that's equal to. So I need to change my constraints. So I need to change that line. Okay, well, I'm going to turn this off because I'm not going to use that anymore. Theoretically, I maximized my patience by moving this thing. You did that. But I have to go back up here to this. And I'm going to move this way out so I can, well, that's as much as I can see. I'm going to make this smaller. I'm going to do a control minus. And what that does is it prints things a little, I don't think I had to make it that small. Okay, but, so control plus, control minus. Okay, so there I made it pretty big so I can see it pretty well, but I can see all of this, and I scooted this way out here, so it makes the graph really small. But once I'm done, I'll fix this up. So now here's the thing. All I really want to do is make that an equality. But if I do that, what happens is, now you notice the big feasible region disappeared. Well, actually, the whole feasible region disappeared. If I turn these off, there's nothing there. Well, what's the problem? The problem is inequalities. It's really what Desmos knows it's doing is it's actually plotting this inequality with these conditions on it. And well, if you do it this way with the equality in here, it doesn't do so well. So what I need to do is I'm going to put curly braces around this one and remove the curly braces around the equality. And there you see it. Now it works just fine. Now I had you, and that's all you really have to do. Now I had you do a control X, say, cut it, and then paste it at the end. Now, part of the reason I had you do that is I thought you needed to, but you didn't. All you had to do was change the curly braces to the inequality and take them off the equality. And you see what happens is now we get this feasible area. It's just part of a line. It's a line segment. Now, why? Well, remember, that's one of our conditions. Well, now if I bring this back in, right, that condition by itself is simply a line. So our feasible region could never be more than this whole line. But then what happens is when you start adding these other constraints, what happened was the inequalities ended up cutting through here and cutting through there. And so the feasible region that we had ended up only being this blue line segment here. So if I get rid of those again, that's my new feasible region. And that's the feasible region we're going to use in Module 7. So you probably want to make sure you save this feasible region. Okay, so I saved it and I can go look that up later. All right, so I've got that, and now it says once I've fixed that, now what we're going to do is minimize. Okay, so I've got this like this step here, and I want to minimize this medical expense. Now this is kind of a weird thing here. We're going to minimize, but actually notice, so what happens is and this sort of thing can really happen. Now this is made up. This is just fictitious, but it could be because of federal or state or even local subsidies for particular people who fall in a given demographic, and that could be due to income, it could be due to job type, it could be due to race, it could be due to religion, it could be due to, in this case, rural or urban. And so what we're going to say is there happen to be some sort of federal and state subsidies that go with the insurance of the people in the rural areas that actually, when you help rural patients, the critical care center actually makes money. Okay, it actually, because this is a minus, it's saying that you're not paying this money, it's actually coming in. You're getting $1,000 per patient, whereas with the urban patients, it actually costs $15,000 per patient, per counselor on the average, beyond the insurance coverage. Okay, and so somebody, taxpayers probably are going to pick that up, just like taxpayers are paying this extra $1,000 here because they're federal and state subsidies. Well, where do they get their money? Taxpayers. So most likely some sort of taxes are going on to each of these somehow or other. It's just here, we're saying these are in the form of subsidies, so they come under some different rule. But so we want to minimize something like this. Well, just like before, we're just going to add it. So we're just going to come down here. We're going to change the Z to 150,000. So I turned off this already because that will just confuse us. Change Z to 150,000, 0 to 150,000. So I'm going to go in here and click on that and say that can go up to 150,000. Enter. And then here, now I want to minimize. I think I said add a note. Add a note, minimize medical expense. So I'll highlight that. Control C, come back here, add a note. And in that note, Control V, add minimize medical expense. And then here, I'm going to put that 15,000, 1, 2, 3, X minus 1,000, Y. And let's see, so it looks very unhappy right now. I don't know why. That's interesting. So see, I can run into issues too. Oh, I'm sorry, I've got to fix this for you. This says plus. I better go fix that right away. That's an error, so I'll fix it, and I'll also send out an announcement. Now let me see if I can do something like this. No, it's still saying an error. Yeah, 15,000. Okay. 15,000x minus 1,000y. Let me put it on pause a minute here and let me figure this out.